Hi, welcome back to the Storehouses of Heaven Bible Study with me, Mary Cremo. We are in Genesis 9, verse 8 through 17. I am petting my cat in case I wiggled. He decided to take up residence on the chair behind me. And he is bopping me as well. So, yeah. Then God told Noah and his sons, I hereby confirm my covenant with you and your descendants, and with all the animals that were on the boat with you, the birds, the livestock, and all the wild animals, every living creature on earth. Yes, I am confirming my covenant with you. Never again will flood waters kill all living creatures. Never again will a flood destroy the earth. Then God said, I am giving you a sign of my covenant with you and with all living creatures for all generations to come. I have placed my rainbow in the clouds. It is the sign of my covenant with you and with all the earth. When I send clouds over the earth, the rainbow will appear in the clouds, and I will remember my covenant with you and all living creatures. Never again will the flood waters destroy all life. When I see the rainbow in the clouds, I will remember the eternal covenant between God and every living creature on earth. Then God said to Noah, yes, this rainbow is the sign of the covenant I am confirming with all the creatures on the earth. So the rainbow is not just for us to remember God's covenant. It is for God to remember his covenant. One thing we remember, the scriptures say, God is God and he cannot go against himself. Yes, my Romeo kitty cat. That was him popping up behind me. He's saying, pet me, even though I'm petting him. So let's see if he'll pop himself back up. Come on, Romeo. Come on, Romeo. Ups. Oh, here we go. He says hi. Oh my goodness. So God is also seeing it. He's placed it in the clouds. When you're in an airplane and you're flying over the clouds, you can see the rainbow up above the clouds. You can see it in all sorts of positions and angles you never would have seen otherwise. And God is, of course, up in heaven looking down on us, and he sees from this angle. So it's really kind of cool to think about. And a lot of times, if you are high enough up, you see a rainbow as a circle, because that's what a rainbow is. It's a circle. It's just generally because of the way that our world works. We don't always see it as a full circle because generally it's covered by part of the earth or part of, the trees or whatever's going on. But once you're up in the clouds, you can see the perfect rainbow, and it's a symbol of eternity. A lot of people say a circle is the symbol of eternity. And then you've got the like double circle that's connected. That's the other symbol of eternity. But that's what a wedding band is. That's what a necklace is for the Indians. People from India, they wear a necklace to show that they are married, and it's a certain kind of necklace. For a lot of people, it is a ring, a wedding ring. I do not wear mine because it is too small since I had kids, and I have not had a resize. My husband has work that he does that it's just not safe to wear rings. So we don't wear rings very often, but we sometimes put on a ring and do that. So yeah, this kitty is a wiggle worm. He's a wiggle worm. Yeah. He's been really deciding to be front and center in the videos lately, which is kind of funny and kind of a bit much sometimes for me. But there's a lot of shenanigans he's been doing behind the camera and, just off screen that has just kind of like, oh my goodness, child. Even though he's not a child. My goodness, cat. Yes. So, God says everything that was on the ark, safe, sound, forever, as far as never is going to be fully wiped off the face of the planet. Now, he doesn't say that there's never going to be another smaller flood, but there will be no more complete earth floods. And one of the things that just strikes me as remarkable is that the underwater creatures that were, so like a fish eating another fish, that famous fossil. It takes an incredible amount of instant chaos to cover a fish eating a fish. A fish is hypersensitive to the currents and chaos underwater, to danger underwater. All fish are just hypersensitive to stuff like that. Sorry, I keep saying that my S is pretty harsh today. For those of you with migraines, I do apologize. Anyway, so there's this fossil, and it's a fish going after a fish. Its mouth is open, it's going after the fish that's smaller than it, and it just, the mud comes up, covers it, and hardens like that. And God preserved and kept it from fully decomposing. But you have to, it just kind of shows you the complete chaos that was going on under the ocean. And that's why so many creatures were killed under the ocean, was because there was so much chaos. I mean, not tornadoes, the volcanoes and the seismic shifts and the raging changes, the whole continents being ripped apart, the continent being ripped apart into continents. That's huge chaos, and that's hugely tumultuous, and it just will cause the animals to be like, and it'll take them by surprise and take them down. So that's something to keep in mind, is how incredibly enormous it was. Everything that is basically just completely covered over. And even the most hypersensitive creatures were wiped out in this. And you have to stop and just really think about it. And, the whole earth was covered with volcanic. So the volcanoes under the water, keep in mind, the oceans are cooler than the air most of the time. The Atlantic is warmer than the Pacific, if I remember correctly. The Pacific is just always ice cold. And, but I keep saying tornadoes today for some reason. I don't know. The volcanoes just kept erupting, and they warmed the waters while the rains were falling. So you have the cloud covers just cooling down the earth. Then you've got the volcanoes that are erupting underwater, warming up the waters. And then you've got possibly, most likely, ones that are just erupting into the air and that were, crazy chaotic. And then the rain poured, and that became part of the silt and the sewage. I guess sewage. It just was epic. And you've got to imagine being on the ark, the absolute trauma and terror that everyone had, the animals, the people. PTSD was not labeled as that. That's a new term. But they had to have had it. They had to have that trauma imprinted on them and in their hearts and their minds and brains that are like, when's this going to happen again? And so when God was like, I promise I'm never going to do this again. Here is a sign to you and to me. When I see this, I will remember my promise. And so even when the whole world is completely covered in sin, God sees that rainbow and he remembers. I mean, you just look throughout the whole of the scriptures, and there are a couple times when God's just like, I regret making mankind. I'm going to wipe him out. And then somebody says, God, please remember your promise. Please remember your promise. And God is God. He cannot go against himself. What he says has to happen. When he speaks something, it must happen. And so that's why go forth and multiply is so completely, it cannot be removed from mankind. Even though people try to remove that desire to procreate out of people, there's that huge push right now to, kill the babies by abortion or trans the kids. They're trying to remove that ability. When you look scientifically and biologically at something, You take something that has been created and designed to thrive with testosterone. You take a man. We'll go with people. You take a man, and you look at them and you say, okay, where are your hormones? Your hormones are going to cause you, if they're just a little off or even greatly off, they're going to cause you all these problems. If the testosterone is low, you're going to have heart problems, weight problems, energy problems, depression problems, all of these things. And this is something that you'll take a normal man and say, you know what? We need to get your testosterone up. This is something that happens constantly. You look at a woman, same thing. Estrogen is low. Well, that causes heart problems, weight problems, depression problems, mood swings. And this goes for both. If the man who's biologically male, woman who's biologically woman, have these testosterone or estrogen imbalances, if they have too much testosterone, because women have testosterone, it's just lower, and men have estrogen, but it's lower. So if those imbalances are, they're not, if they don't have proper balance, then they are going to have massive health problems, massive mental and emotional issues, and they're not going to operate and procreate properly. And so when you trans somebody and you give them those chemicals that castrate them, especially the women have that happen, that's a chemical that is given to women very often, and they're completely castrated. And that's what you do for sexual predators in prisons. That's the exact same chemical. And so there are these people who are trying to go against the nature of God. But it cannot be stopped because God said that the earth must do this. Animals must procreate. People must procreate. God will always have men and women married. One man, one woman married throughout all of time. That is always going to happen. Just like there will always be winter and summer, harvest and planting seasons. There will always be animal life on our planet. There will always be plant life on our planet to sustain us. There will be sunshine and there will be night, day and night. There will always be the seasons because God said it is so. As long as this earth is on the earth, it will continue because God said so. He created it. He perfectly orchestrated it and designed it, and God said so. And therefore, it cannot go against what God has ordained. The world will try because of sin and the fact that this is a fallen world now, but sin and death will never be able to prevail against God and His word. And God He sent Jesus to save us from the forever eternal death of sin, to save us from sin so that we can live with Him eternally and not in hell eternally. And that is the whole point of the book, of the Bible. The Bible is a love story. God's love for mankind. It is a story of betrayal. Mankind's betrayal against God. Satan's betrayal against God. It is a story of the history of our world as well. But it is also the most incredible, redemptive love story ever. Ever. Because God redeemed us. And the amazing thing is that God says, when the world was created, I am. And so God is now. He is in the past. And He is in the future. He is the creator of a book. He is holding that book. He is here. He is here. Just like I'm holding the book. And He can close it anytime He wants. He can open it anytime He wants. And He is in every moment of that. He's outside of time and space, unlike the rest of us who are constrained by it. God is bigger. God is sovereign. God is Lord. And we, the words on the page, we are the words on the page that God is writing the story in. And we have some say in it, but we are not the authors of the entire book. We are not the perfecters of the entire book. We're not. God is. He knows better. He knows best. He is amazing and He is glorious and He is God and worthy to be praised. No matter what we have going on in our lives, and we all have something terrible in our lives at one point or another, and God is sovereign through it, and He's still good. Satan is the evil one. Anything bad in our lives comes from Satan and sin, from a fallen world. It does not come from God trying to destroy your life. It comes from Satan, who wants to destroy our lives, and from our sin nature that wants to go against God because we want to be God. So, with that in mind, may you seek God with all your heart, and in doing so, be blessed.